See, you're twisting it, man. It's not about numbers.
We are about to witness the clash between two industry giants. Through confrontation and argument, we begin to see the true motivations of Bert Kreischer. Bert is describing what his average day looks like as a comedian, and Bobby sits there in disbelief, wondering why Bert makes himself so busy.
My day is packed. It starts at like 7 in the morning, 6 in the morning. Take Isla to school, get back, work out, podcast, shoot promos, take fucking conference calls.
I don't do any of that.
Why?
Why? That's why. Why don't you ask yourself that? Why do you do it?
Because I feel like I'm leaving stuff on the table.
Yeah, but you know what? Nothing that you achieve is going to fix you. It doesn't.
For real?
Yeah.
Bobby says that nothing you achieve is going to fix you. We see for a split second that Kreischer actually takes it in and acknowledges that it is a good point. But he quickly squints his eyes and rejects it. Not necessarily because the point was bad, but the source it's coming from is not super reliable. Kreischer wants to believe it, but he realizes Bobby may just be saying that in order to drag him down to his level. Bobby saying nothing that you achieve is going to fix you is implying that Bert is not doing these things because he is intrinsically ambitious, but he is doing these things and filling up his day in order to run away from himself and avoid facing the problems at the core of his being. Kreischer's "for real" with an upward inflection tells us that Bobby was spot on with his perception, because if he wasn't, Bert would have denied the reasoning that Bobby provided. The upward inflection also shows us that Bert is skeptic. The subconscious use of an upward inflection is a polite way of expressing skepticism without directly challenging Bobby's assertion. Bert is skeptic of the source that the information is coming from. He doesn't necessarily trust Bobby or see him as someone to take advice from. An act of great perception from Bobby and an act of great vulnerability from Bert. We can now recognize that Bert's nod of disagreement was not Bert saying, "You don't understand my motivations," but rather, "You are correct with your prediction of my motivations, but I'm not sure I trust you as someone to take advice from."
It doesn't.
For real?
Yeah. The whole point is living in the moment and just feeling your feelings and just, you have to work and pay bills and stuff like that, but I think you do extra and I don't like it.
No, so is there a part of you that like, I couldn't be you because...
I couldn't be you either.
I couldn't be you because I would say you're everyone's favorite comic and you've never done a special.
So?
I know, but don't you want to do specials?
No.
Bert says that he could never be in Bobby's position because Bobby is everyone's favorite comic and yet you've never done a special. Bert is showing a level of insecurity here because he is essentially saying, I would be completely overburdened as a comedian if I was lacking the social proof that having a special provides. Bobby says so and dismisses it. This is because Bobby believes that being true to oneself and connecting with the audience outweighs the conventional benchmarks of success as a comedian, such as having a comedy special. This is a super interesting contrast here. As we see, Bobby is driven by internal factors. He does what makes him happy, and he is incidentally a comedian. And Bert is driven by external factors. He is set on doing the necessary things in order for people to view him as a real comedian. Bobby places the judgment of his value as a comedian only within himself, but Bert places the judgment of his value as a comedian into the hands of the world. Which one do you think is going to be more sustainable?
I would say you're everyone's favorite comic and you've never done a special.
So?
I know, but don't you want to do specials?
No.
Why not?
Why?
When Bert says, don't you want to do specials? He is indirectly asking Bobby, don't you want to be considered a high-level comedian in the eyes of the public? And Bobby gladly says no. And by saying no, he is indirectly saying no because it is not the public who decides that I am a high-level comedian. It is me and my intimate audience who decides that.
Let me, right? Okay. Number one, I don't want to do stadiums.
Okay.
I've done them with you guys.
Yeah.
You
don't enjoy it?
No. I like clubs.
This is so fascinating because we have the collision of two separate psychological motivations and lifestyles. We reach a momentary impasse because neither one can understand the other at first. It is here that we realize that yes, they are both comedians, but for two separate reasons.
I like clubs.
Yeah.
You go into a club, you can touch people in the front row. Also, then Not like sexually, but like,
Yeah.
tap, like, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
And then it's also, then you can sometimes meet them afterwards.
Bobby's internal motivation allows him to have greater connections with his fans. Even though it doesn't bring him as much money or status, Bobby is not persuaded by what the public views as a high-level comedian's venue. We see in Bert's reaction that he is laughing out of bewilderment. This is because Bert does not perceive, understand, or appreciate his audience on an individual level. He views an intimate venue merely as a stepping stone to a larger venue, which would in turn earn him more status and creed in the public eye as a high-level comedian.
But don't you have any aspirations? Like, why do you do anything then? Like, why do you act in movies? Why do you act in TV shows? Is it for money?
That's fun.
It's fun.
Bert says, "Why do you do anything then?" Again, we see the minds collide. Bert, in his confusion, provides external motivators to answer on behalf of Bobby, asking him, "Is it for money?" And all Bobby can say is, "It's fun." Bert is essentially asking Bobby, if you are a comedian and you're not chasing status or rank, then what's the point? And Bobby, following his internal motivations, is able to indirectly say, I do not need to chase status. I am status. With internal motivation, Bobby is living in the present, deriving meaning from pursuing what brings his soul joy. With external motivation, Bert is living in the future, deriving meaning from pursuing what will bring him status in the public eye. This is fascinating because the contrast of these philosophies coming together allows us to see them more clearly.
Yeah, but no, I like I like performing. I like doing pods because I get to express myself, and I like acting sometimes. But it's like
When you did the Bad Friends tour, wasn't it fun to go into a theater, have it sold out, have everyone hear you? You do something, you come up with something new, and you get off stage and you feel like alive.
Yeah, but I did that. I can do that in the OR as well.
That's not the same.
It is the same.
No, it's not.
We are seeing the minds collide in real time. Two separate realities clashing together. Bobby providing more and more internal motivations, and Bert providing more and more external motivations. It builds up more and more until finally Bobby calls him out.
In your mind, see, you're twisting it, man. It's not about numbers.
No, but there is something about being financially stable. You don't have a family to take care of.
It is imperative to realize that Bobby is the only one in this conversation that is capable of addressing the current conflict. This is because someone who is motivated internally has a greater sense of self-reflection. It is very hard to be internally motivated, and it is very easy for the desires of the world to make you externally motivated. Maintaining your internal motivations requires a constant defense against the alluring desires of the external motivations that the world wants to inflict on you. Because of this, someone who is internally motivated has a greater sense of self-reflection and awareness because they are constantly scanning their internal environment in order to root out any external motivations. This is a special strength that those who are externally motivated are not given the chance to cultivate. Bobby calls him out for prioritizing the pursuit of status. Bert notices and tries to defend himself. This is where we see Bert try and provide an internal motivation that Bobby could get behind. The internal motivation of taking care of your family financially.
But there is something about being financially stable. You don't have a family to take care of.
But Bert,
What?
and I don't know this about you because I'm not your accountant,
Yeah.
right? But I'm pretty sure you don't ever have to work for the rest of your life.
Bert's argument doesn't hold up at all under Bobby's scrutiny. And we see that Bert was just trying to feign an internal motivation in order to cover up for his external motivations of pursuing status. Also, we see Bobby assume a position of power here as he puts his hand up to stop Bert. Bobby's hand goes up, essentially to say, hey man, that's not true, let me stop you right there.
I'll buy one pair of shoes a month.
Oh, yeah.
No, mine's are like $800 shoes.
No, I buy expensive shoes too. But
Yeah.
I buy like we'll go to Philly and I'll buy 13 pairs of shoes.
Yeah, that's stupid.
I know.
Because you're not gonna wear it,
I don't wear them.
and you think it's gonna fix you because at the time it feels. It doesn't.
I love that I'm getting therapy from you.
I'm not doing therapy. I'm not doing therapy.
Bobby is becoming more comfortable in his hand gestures than before. He is knowingly or unknowingly assuming a higher position of power against Bert. When Bobby openly declares, you think it's going to fix you, Bert realizes that he does not want this power structure to get out of control. So he checks Bobby by saying, I love that I'm getting therapy from you. Once Bert says this, it confirms our previous assumptions that Bert disagrees less with the advice and more with the source that the advice is coming from.
And you think it's going to fix you because at the time it feels, but doesn't.
I love that I'm getting therapy from you.
I'm not doing therapy. I'm not doing therapy with you.
Bert's statement startles Bobby, causing him to actually jump out of his seat and maintain a more defensive posture as he twice proclaims, "I'm not doing therapy. I'm not doing therapy." And then we see Bert put out a delayed laugh. We often use laughter to diffuse the tension of an authoritative statement, and the larger the gap between the end of the statement and the start of the laughter, the more serious a person is about what they said. Usually the laughter comes immediately after the authoritative statement, but we see Bert wait a full second before he starts laughing, making sure that the message gets across to Bobby loud and clear.
And you think it's going to fix you because at the time it feels, but doesn't.
I love that I'm getting therapy from you.
I'm not doing therapy. I'm not doing therapy with you.
But like, is there not a part of you? Because I think everyone, college kids have your mentality where they're like, yeah, I'm not going to sign up for too many classes this semester.
The power structure has been leveled, and Bert again starts to appeal to having external motivations, to the point to which he actively discredits Bobby's motivations by comparing it to an immature college kid's. Since Bobby is no longer in a position of power for the moment, he feels he can no longer lift his finger, take control, and lead Bert in the right direction. And now that Bobby feels he no longer has a clear outlet to speak, his desire to help turns into anger, irritation, and disappointment.
College kids have your mentality where they're like, yeah, I'm not going to sign up for too many classes this semester because I don't want to be overwhelmed.
We see Bobby look back and forth at the camera for the first time. Why is he doing this? Bobby is a sensitive man, and since he feels Bert took the power away from him, he is no longer focused on communicating with Bert. He is now focused on communicating with the audience, to which he was previously on Bert's side, trying to help Bert. Bobby feels he has been pushed away. In his irritation, Bobby now focuses his energy in this moment on creating a connection with the audience against Bert. Bobby is realizing that if I can't get through to Bert, then I will at least get through to the audience so that they can understand that I am in the right here.
College, but like at a certain age, don't you aspire?
Aspire what?
Like, don't you
aspire? What?
Don't you have?
Bert tells Bobby, at a certain age, don't you aspire to more? Essentially telling Bobby that he needs to grow up. This is the opposite of the message Bobby has been trying to get across this whole time. Bobby wants to desperately tell Bert that Bert is caught in a trap, but he doesn't feel like he can do this without Bert taking it as an insult. Bobby has no clear communication channel with Bert right now, and we see his irritation building more and more. As he theatrically places his hand on the bridge of his nose, Bobby is being so loud with his body language and so quiet with his words because Bobby's priorities have now changed from directly communicating with Bert to indirectly communicating with the audience. Not only does Bobby feel unjustly discredited, but he is now realizing that Bert is so clouded in his thought that he can't even understand where Bobby is coming from.
I think about me a lot.
That's not good.
That's not good. I think about me only.
The whole point of life
is
to get out of yourself and help others.
Before leaving the topic, Bobby concedes because he realizes that although he is right, the reputation that he has in other areas of his life does not precede him or inspire authority from Bert. While Bobby does have many faults in other areas of his life, it is important to recognize the superiority of a life led by internal motivations compared to a life led by external motivations. We must scrutinize our choices and reflect daily on our lives to ensure that we are doing the things we do because we personally want to achieve them, not just because someone or something told us that we should be doing it. It is completely possible that someone led by internal motivations can achieve just as much, if not more, than someone led by external motivations. Both of these philosophies can end up with the same results. However, only those who are internally led will enjoy the journey on the way to those results. Our happiness in this life depends on the quality of the fuel that we burn for motivation. My name is Glidget Ronan. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like the video and subscribe for more content like this. Leave your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to our free exclusive newsletter that focuses on strategic communication and psychology.